So, have you ever found yourself kind of caught in a connection, maybe a relationship, where you feel like you're just always waiting,
Yeah.
waiting for something more? That feeling that, you're maybe in love, not with who the person is right now, but with a memory. Or maybe this vivid idea of who they could be. It
Yeah.
happens, right? And
Yeah.
it's something we're really going to dive deep into today. We're looking at this really interesting concept called Breadcrumb High. It comes from some compelling stuff over on the YouTube channel Unspoken Strength.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating, I think, is how we can, almost without realizing it, build this whole mental home just out of, maybes, empty promises, really.
Yeah.
So our mission here for this deep dive is to unpack that,
Mm.
to really get into this dynamic, how it keeps us feeling like we're starving for a love you'd half supply, as the source puts it. We want to shine a light on those patterns that trap us, and maybe, most importantly, talk about the relief, that sense of freedom when you finally break free.
That idea of building a home out of maybes, wow, that really hits, doesn't it? The source talks about, and some
Wow.
people are just masters at painting potential. They show you these like dazzling glimpses of what could be, who they might become.
Right, like someone always talking about big plans down the road.
Exactly. Or promising, oh, I'll change soon, but you never see the concrete steps. Never. They're basically giving you a rain check forever on a real connection. You're left with what the source calls an empty frame.
An empty frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, no actual picture inside.
No follow through, no substance, just the outline you were desperately hoping would get filled in. And it's exhausting. It just drains you, your hope. You might even try to convince yourself, oh, it's deep, it's complex, they're just going through something. But really, it's often just a pattern, a deep one.
Which brings up a really key question, I think. Why? Why does that cycle keep us so hooked, even when we kind of know we're not getting what we truly need?
Yeah, what is that pull?
Well, the source points to a psychological trap. It's quite powerful. You're finally ready to walk away. You've pulled back. You're done. And then ping, a text.
Yeah.
Or random call. Hey, was just thinking about you.
Ugh, that single crumb.
That's the crumb. And it works like intermittent reinforcement. It's a known behavioral conditioning thing. It's basically the same principle that makes gambling so addictive. You get these unpredictable rewards, and it keeps you playing, keeps you hoping, even though you're mostly losing.
So it's not always like deliberate manipulation.
Not always overt, no. Often it might be unconscious, just keeping you nearby with minimal effort. It taps into our, very human need for connection, for validation. And we mistake that inconsistency for complexity, maybe, instead of seeing it as just a lack of real investment.
And it's that exact ambiguity, isn't it? That tiny little flicker of hope they offer that keeps us analyzing everything.
Oh, definitely.
You obsess over that one crumb. You dissect that text for hours. What did it mean? Have they changed? Do they finally see my worth? Are they ready now? And boom, just like that, the whole cycle kicks off again.
Yep, back to square one.
You pick up that crumb, and for that moment, you forget you're starving. It perfectly captures living on that breadcrumb high, doesn't it? Craving something only half supplied. Always waiting for a future that just never quite arrives.
So if we zoom out a little, maybe the biggest takeaway here, the most powerful insight, is recognizing that it wasn't passion, it was a pattern.
It wasn't passion, it was a pattern.
That simple phrase offers such a huge shift in perspective. It lets you shatter what the source calls a tragic hope.
Yeah.
That hope that something real, something meaningful, will finally bloom from a situation that, that never really had the substance for it. This cycle. It's not love, it's a game. A game played with crumbs, not substance. A connection that really only knew how to take, leaving you feeling just depleted.
And the relief, when you finally see that pattern clearly, it can be huge. The source actually describes it like breathing fresh air after being suffocated by maybes.
Yeah, like finally coming up for air.
We really want that kind of clarity for you listening. So maybe take a moment. Think about any breadcrumb high situations in your own life. Could be romantic, sure, but maybe also friendships or even collaborations at work, anywhere you feel like you're living on those maybes.
Good point. It's not just romance.
So here's something to think about. What ghosts are you still holding on to? Are there old texts you still check? Promises you're still hoping might just materialize years later? How can you fully, truly take back the soul you left behind, as the source puts it? How can you really begin anew by seeing these patterns for what they are and finding the real freedom in letting go?
I fell in love with a memory
with who you were in chapter 1. I built a home inside your maybe, held my breath and blocked the sun. You painted masterpieces of potential, then left me with the empty frame. And just when I was good and gone, a single text, a single call, that little hit to keep me holding on, just enough to watch me fall. I was living on a breadcrumb high, starving for a love you dressed up late. It was a passion, it was a pattern, a tragic hope I had to shatter. You kept me loyal, you kept me blind.